Hi, everyone. My name is Vincent Finaldi with the Second Generation Video Podcast. Today, I have another guest. His name is Kyle Faehner, who's involved in a family business called PJ Murphy Forest Products. Say what's up, Kyle.
Hi, how's it going?
The reason I wanted to talk about your company, PJ Murphy, is the amount of history you guys have is actually quite incredible once I learned a little bit about your company. So I'm going to lay out your family's timeline and just correct me if I'm wrong, like interrupt me because I don't want to
Yep.
foul this up. Okay. So from my understanding, this company was actually founded in 1895 in Brooklyn.
No. So it was founded in 1895 in Patterson, but
Okay.
that was not founded by my family members.
So that was actually PJ Murphy.
That was Mr. Patrick Joseph Murphy.
Okay. In as recent as in 1895, so quite
Yes.
a few years ago. So fast forwarding a little bit, there are a couple important figures in your family business that I'd have to say would be first when your grandfather Fred bought the company from PJ in 1947. Is that correct?
Yep. Exactly. So and you skip over a little something there. So my grandfather incorporated this company. It wasn't PJ Murphy at the time. It was Pinewood Sawdust Company.
Okay.
And he did that, but his father had actually run what we were determined and was what we refer to as like a sawdust route. So
Sure.
he was a sawdust peddler in Brooklyn.
That was
So
your
the way to-
great grandfather,
That was my great grandfather.
who's Gene.
Yes. So if you think of, I always use Peter Luger as an example. Everyone knows Peter Luger, and it's got that old school vibe. The floors are uneven, but you also kind of think of there's sawdust on the floor. And so he would go pick sawdust up at a sawmill, which at the time they were still in Brooklyn. It wasn't very trendy yet.
Right.
And then he would take his truck, he would drive around the city. He would go to different bakeries, butcher shops. He would sell to the South Street Seaport when it was actually a seaport, the Brooklyn Navy Yard, a lot of places. There was a lot of random uses, and it was used primarily as an absorbent.
That's incredible. So for us and the viewers, about 90 years ago, ballpark in the 1930s and 40s, your great grandfather Gene had a truck route in the sawdust peddling business.
Exactly.
Wow. Okay. So then Grandpa Fred
Yep.
incorporated it and turned it into a business, more of an enterprise.
Now we're going to call him Fred O because
Fred
my father's
O.
also involved, and he's Fred A. So
Okay. So now here's where we are. We're in the 1947. Let's fast forward a little bit. So now 2021, let me see if I got this correctly. You have your father, Fred, your uncle, Roger, your brothers, Josh, and your cousins, Tim, and yourself are now involved on the family operation side of running this company. Am I correct?
Absolutely. And
Very
we're at
cool.
a very interesting time for any family business, as Fred and Roger, who are, got to do my math right here, 71 and 73, are beginning the phases of retirement discussion. So that's very interesting for any family business.
Absolutely. And are you fourth generation?
Yeah, I'm fourth generation from Gene. I'm fourth generation.
Wow.
So it's,
That's pretty
I can say I'm not telling the truth saying I'm fourth generation, but from the incorporation of our company, I'm technically only third from Fred.
Well, we'll let it slide. Okay. We'll let it
thank
slide.
you. I appreciate that.
And just to give an idea of how much your company has scaled from the sawdust peddling truck route to now, from my understanding, you have 4 locations, in addition to Montville being where the business is ran out of.
Yep.
You have 4 actual locations where the wood is for lack of better words, manufactured.
Exactly. Processing sites.
Okay.
I refer to it as a plant, but yeah. So we have our corporate offices here in Montville, and then we have 4 sites. And my running joke with everyone is, they're in the middle of the woods, by design. They're kind of in the middle of nowhere. So we have one that is south of Buffalo, but in the state of Pennsylvania.
Okay.
And again, in the woods. Then we have one in northern Wisconsin, which is north of any town you've ever heard of, a little town called Ladysmith. Then we have 2 in Kentucky. One of them is in a town called Monticello, which is very close to where they filmed the show Bootleggers, if you ever watched that. The lake is right in their town. So that's where they're bootlegging spirits. And then the
right.
other's in Bowling Green, which is the thriving metropolis of our corporate footprint.
All right. Very great. That's awesome. That's incredible. From a sawdust peddler to that.
Yeah.
That's a lot. That's wonderful. So help me understand. So when I learned a little about your company, so you have different applications for your wood products. So when I quickly throw out a few, you have your specialist in animal bedding, in meat smoking, chips, in metal tumbling. Did I get all that right?
Yeah. And there's a bunch of, it depends, honestly, all of our products are, I'm going to say, quote unquote, the same thing in that it's wood in a varying particle size. So like for us as of late, a big growth segment for us is we deal with composite deck manufacturers.
Mm-hmm.
So that they buy very fine wood. We grind it up. It is the size of it's particle size comparable to flour. We refer to it as wood flour, very original people over here. And then they use that when they make their deck boards, actually. So that helps them. So that's like the smallest side. Then you go up, we have like animal bedding. If you think of a hamster cage, with a wood chip in it, it's used as an absorbent, a substrate, that kind of thing. And then meat smoking, the thing that everyone always knows, I say, Applewood smoked bacon. Well, we're one of the 3 people large scale in the country who ship the Applewood and provide it to, we don't sell to mom and pops, but we sell to like the Smithfields, the Tysons, the large scale meat producers of the world.
Okay. Very, very cool. And so how did that, because did you always have those different applications, or did that evolve over time with your father and uncle?
So it is all kind of evolved. So, we talk about Gene with a route. So Gene didn't even really have a processing facility. He would literally go to the sawmill, say, give me some of your sawdust. And then he would go to the bakers and stuff around the city, and he would shovel some out for them with a shovel in the back of his truck, manual labor.
Got it.
Then my grandfather.
Back in the day.
Yes, that's a long time ago. That's a long time when it was easy to drive a truck around New York City, which I honestly don't know how many trucks I've truly seen in New York City lately, but
that's true.
But then my grandfather, he started processing it, and everything kind of evolved a little bit. Like when he was younger, his largest account, he always dealt with a company called Hart's Mountain, which was animal bedding. It was exclusively, Hart's Mountain was known for, they were leaders and starting out, they sold pet bedding, pet supplies, I'll say, in grocery stores. So they were like the first one to have that little nook at the end of the aisle that had a bunch of random pet food and that kind of stuff. They really revolutionized that aspect. And that was his largest account. And then
that was Fred O.
That was Fred O, my grandfather.
Got it. Okay.
And so that also was, at that time, there was also meat smoking, but that was more on a localized scale in that, in New Jersey, we still sell some of them. There are legacy accounts. They don't use a lot, but they were from his route days where it's, some really good Polish butchers in Garfield, some great, meat smokers, European provision guy down in central Jersey. There's a couple of them that just stuck around and they've always been using it, but that was always on a smaller scale. As the company's grown, the customer base has grown. And so we've been able to, expand into the larger customers.
No, it's awesome to hear. And you joined the family business. Are you approaching like year 10, if I remember, something like that?
Yep. Year 10. I mean, it slips away as I was saying to you just the other, I still think it's 2003. So I lose track of these things quickly.
So tell me, since you've been with the family business, obviously working with your father, your brother, your cousin, your uncle, what would be one of the bigger challenges that stuck out that you guys got through, but it was a really hard time?
So we have a lot, I always say about family businesses, there's pros and cons to it. Everyone always says, oh, you're in a family business. How do you like that? And I say, well, there's pros and cons. It's a very different list of pros and cons than a typical corporate structure. We've been fortunate. I came on, I'm going to say right post the recession, and our company did not set any records, but was profitable through the recession in 07, 08. And then when I came on, what did we overcome that was biggest? We had some fires at suppliers. That's a very big concern in our business. I was talking about wood flour earlier, that is a primitive form of gunpowder, simply put. It's highly explosive. So we're very, very on edge in improving all of our facilities. That's been one of our big things is we've improved our training our safety approaches, because one of the things that happens in a family business is things just kind of get done the way they were done. And the way my grandfather did things is not legal in some aspects today. The way he just did,
Sure.
he talks about, he said, he's
The
like,
world
oh,
changed. Yeah.
we would get sawdust from the supplier. And if we had too much, I would put it in that field next to the firehouse, and they used it when they needed it, but we just dumped it there. I'm like, whoa, can't just go dumping in fields today. But
understood. Okay. Very,
yeah.
very cool. So getting over some of those hurdles, what would you say stands out? I mean, from your tenure there or with the business, from what do you visualize as a big success that pops out, whether it's one thing or just more of a philosophy? What's something that you're really proud of?
Me and my brother and my cousin have been on very similar pages about what to do. So it is an interesting dynamic at our company. My grandfather is exactly what you picture as the innovator, the starter, the founder of a company. He was hitting the ground running. He was always like, we need to be 2 steps ahead. He's like, we got to take this opportunity. So he spent money at our company very aggressively. So as a result of that, when we came on, my grandfather worked till he was 92.
Wow.
In our office. He was commuting from Long Island to New Jersey. He worked till 6 months before he died. Not quite the day, but
incredible. It's incredible.
But as a result of that, there was not necessarily a burdensome, but there was a debt load at our company. So we said, all right, what we're going to do, we're going to eliminate our debt load, and we're going to expand existing clients, because we felt some of our clients were underutilized. When you talk about Smithfield, they have 37 locations around the country that's taken, and we're selling to 5 of them. I said, well, why can't we just go take another 5 from someone? Let's,
Sure.
So we did while paying down our debt load, we expanded existing footprint. And now looking forward, our next hurdle would probably be expansion of our manufacturing facilities, because we're approaching capacity, which is a good thing. As sales grow, you need to expand. So
that's great. No, thanks for sharing. And I noticed while learning a little bit about your company, you seem to be very big on going green, in the sense that going green since 1895. And as you know, the green initiative is everywhere, from businesses, government, our way of life in
Absolutely.
2021. So can you expound on that a little bit?
So it's funny. When my grandfather was doing it, I've never asked him, but I can assure you that it never occurred to him that he was one of the larger recyclers in the country, probably at the time. Everything we buy. So the way our raw material comes into us is we're buying the waste product from a sawmill or a finishing mill, larger scale cabinet makers. And they just have huge, they're selling us, some of them sell us 4 or 5 truckloads of product a day.
And it's their leftover.
They just want to get rid of it because they
Okay.
burn as much of it as they can for energy. And then they have excess after that, and they need to get rid of it. And we come in and pay them for it, which they're very appreciative of. And we keep their facilities running. So we've always been green. And it's just interesting that people only started caring like 20 years ago.
No, that's interesting. I never thought about it like that.
Yeah, no, when you actually do the math, you talk to marketing people, and they're like, one of the guys we talked with was like, I want you to list how many tons you save from a landfill each year. And it's a huge number. It's hundreds of thousands of tons annually that we prevent from going in a landfill, which is a great thing. And it's something that we never even thought of until, recently it became a real big, people were concerned about that.
Oh, sure.
We've been doing it for forever. It's great.
So basically keep doing what you're doing and just let everyone know.
There you go.
Very cool. All right. I have a few rapid fire questions. These are, don't overthink it. Just answer it as you see fit. So question number 1, will little Brendan Faehner be a sawdust peddler when he grows up?
If he wants to be. The option will be there for both him and Avery, my daughter.
Right, correct. Absolutely. So question number 2, 5th generation for you and your brother and cousin. Yes, no, maybe.
Hopefully. And I think I speak for all of us. We would hope, but I don't want to force them into it if they don't want to do it. It's an interesting, I think it provides a good life, and it would be beneficial to them, and there's a nice legacy involved, and I hope they feel the same way.
You got about 20 years to figure it out.
Yeah, I know.
All right. Last question. What is your favorite meat to smoke with using your wood chips?
It's got to be brisket, right? It's got to be brisket. As you say that, then you're like, I don't know. See, the thing is, I smoke more brisket, but I don't really smoke bacon. But I mean, smoking bacon.
Hey,
you know.
As long as they're good wood chips, right?
Yeah,
The
exactly.
PJ Murphy wood chips. All right.
Yeah.
But listen, I appreciate your time and sharing your story about PJ Murphy. Congrats to you and your family on 100. I don't know, let's just say 100 years.
126.
126
Let's not
years.
shortchange anyone.
126 years of success, and I hope you guys are around for another century.
Thanks. I appreciate it.
All right. Talk
All
to you
right, great
soon.
to be here. Take care.
Bye.